Today I want to walk you through how to make a plum mead and how to avoid all of the mistakes that I made while I made my plum mead. So let's get started. So today's mead recipe is on screen. This is the card, the totally correct card that I'm gonna put up here. And I say correct because I'm about to walk you through my process and the goofs I made and tell you how I made some mistakes. But you'll see on here, plum, chopped plum generally, or pureed plum, the best ways to do it. I would avoid, unless you just want the flavor profile, a syrup or something like that. Try to use the real thing. Some honey, we're making mead. I'm using the Lalvin 71B. There's some yeast nutrient, all of those things on the card. And this mead is pretty fascinating and pretty fun. Now let's talk about how to make it. You're gonna start with plums in primary. You can either use your pureed plums or you can actually take and, just do the chopped version. I'm gonna walk you first through what I did and then I'll kind of talk about my mistakes. So what I did to make this was I chopped up my plums. I got like probably 3 or 4 pounds of plums for this 2-gallon mead recipe. I made 2 gallons, you saw a 1-gallon recipe card. So I got my plums, cut them up, de-petted them, did all the things. And then I mixed them together with my honey, my water, my yeast, a Lalvin 71B. We added all of our yeast nutrient up front. Our starting gravity was 1.070. So we mixed all of those things up. We let it start fermenting. Fermentation time and the time on the actual plums themselves was like 2 to 3 weeks. I let them set for a long time, make sure that they had enough flavor time in there. I did add some pectic enzyme in hopes to break down the plum side, so that's also on the recipe card, as you saw. About 3 weeks on those plums. We went ahead and racked them into a new container, racked the whole thing. The new gravity after the fermentation was 1.000. So here's where I started to make some silly mistakes. I stabilized this, of course. I wanted to back sweeten it, so I had stabilized it and then came back 24 hours and back sweetened it with some honey. We got it up to roughly about 1.025 in that realm. So we had back sweetened it. The plum flavor was kind of zapped, in my opinion. So what I did was I pureed more plums, about 2 pounds per gallon of pureed plums. I pitched that into the brew to help get the plum flavor to pop. It was just not there. And I think it's because I used the chopped plums. They just weren't getting enough flavor extraction. Added pureed plum in there, which did add a little bit of sweetness. We let that sit for 2 weeks on pureed plums. There was no more re-fermentation because we had stabilized, which is good. We wanted just the raw plum puree flavor there. Today's video is sponsored by ZBiotics. ZBiotics is a probiotic drink you consume before your alcoholic beverages. If you've ever woken up after a night of drinking and not felt so great, that's because of a byproduct of alcohol called acetaldehyde. Acetaldehyde cannot be metabolized or used in our body, and it often causes the adverse effects of drinking. I'm not feeling so great. ZBiotics has found a solution for this. If you consume one of these little ZBiotic half fluid ounce vials, this will counteract and will actually do something with the acetaldehyde in your body, helping you have a better morning after drinking. You drink this right before you go out to drink your water, you do all the things, and the next morning you should have a simpler, nicer morning ahead of you. So if you would like to get 15% off your first order, scan the QR code, check out the link below, and go check out ZBiotics to help you have a better morning after your nights of drinking. I forgot, within this little time span, I forgot that I had back sweetened this previously. So after I racked off of the plum puree, big old smart me said, I didn't even taste it, by the way. I just was like, oh, I haven't back sweetened this yet. I back sweetened it again. So we back sweetened it up to about a 1.050 gravity. So this is 1050 final gravity as it currently stands. Only at that point did I taste it and go, crap, I just back sweetened something so sweet. It is so incredibly sweet. So we added citric malic acid in kind of to taste to really heighten the acidity in an attempt to balance this. We also oaked it. We took some American oak chips, an ounce of American oak chips, which is a lot per gallon, let me be clear. And we put those into the container. We let it set for like 2 weeks because I really wanted to try and balance this. This was so sweet. The sweetness to tannin, like oaking, to the acidity really needed to meld. After 2 weeks of oaking on that, we went ahead and bottled it, and that's what we have here. So let me talk about all my mistakes I made within that. I didn't write down my back sweetening previously. And so what happened was I forgot I'd done it and I did it again. So write down your stuff. I double back sweetened, don't need to do that. The pureed plum would have been way better in the primary. So the whole plum fruit, I highly recommend to not use whole plums because it just doesn't work all that well in my opinion. So use pureed plums, that will get more flavor extraction with the pectic enzyme, of course. And that's kind of the bulk of my errors. I did have to fix this because I double back sweetened. So I added probably more acid than I needed, and the oak character was necessary, I think, regardless of back sweetening. But I feel like I had to almost over oak it in order to balance. But let's find out if all of those things I'm saying are true. Let's taste this mead. All right, as you can see, it looks pretty dang good. This mead, it's kind of, you know, when I think plum, I think purpley. This is more like a rust red, orange, burnt orange kind of color there. And its nose is sweet, to be clear. A lot of honey, a lot of this dark fruit. It smells incredible. Honestly, I like the aroma. I'm really on the train of, after judging Mead Stampede, which is an awesome event where we judge hundreds of meads, the aroma on this is very pleasant. Lots of honey, lots of fruit, very true to the characters that it describes. Now, what does it taste like? Oh, yeah. We're about 4 months old at this point. We are setting roughly about, what do I put on here? 11% ABV. So definitely needs some time to meld with that. There's a little bit of character from that alcohol that's there, but it's not overwhelming. The sweetness is definitely high, but the oak and the acidity are helping to temper it down. Yeah, it's super, very smooth. I think that the characters from the honey choices I made are really helpful because they help the flavors pop. And the plum is very, it's not like a punch of plum to your face, but it's a like kind of subtle, roasty, dark note in there that's super pleasant. One thing I like about this brew, and the recipe card that I mentioned, that's gonna get you to the same point, basically, without all the errors, essentially. You're just gonna arrive at the point. I had to do a lot of adjusting, and so that's what's important here, is that hopefully you don't make the same mistakes as me. I can see this being so good, especially 3 or 4 months from now when things have had more time to meld. It's definitely desserty. It's not your regular sipper. You know, I'll be hard pressed to try and kill this whole glass because it's a lot of sugar content, to be clear. However, it's very good, a dessert mead style. I think people would really like this. I think you'd like it if you give it a shot. And so I'll be very curious for anyone who has had experience with plums, how you did it, how you achieved it. I've only done one other plum brew previously, and I used a plum syrup. It was pretty high acid, not quite what I wanted. This is very mellow, low fruit, or not low fruit, but low acid, I should say, coming from the plum itself. That's why I had to add all the acid to balance it there. It's very just warm and inviting, and I could see this being super good with some spices too. So maybe a plum and spiced mead. So let me know what you've done with plum before. Let me know if you plan on doing this brew, because I'd be curious to hear that as well. Here's the recipe card again, and hopefully you can read it and see where to add things. I try to make my recipe cards very clear with this. So that's how I've made a plum mead. I've also made a lot of mistakes in the process, and that's okay, because guess what? I've learned to not make the same mistakes. So hopefully you're learning with me. Thank you for watching. We're on the road, I think at this point, probably to 100,000 subscribers. You know, it's a long road. Barely see the light there, but you can help us get there. It'd be super cool to get to 100,000 at some point, but I'd love your help. You can help by hitting the subscribe button. It's as free as can be. So thanks for watching. Go make this mead, go make a mead, and I'll see you in a future video. Cheers.